Hi everyone, this is Charm again from Ready to Adult Philippines, a channel about personal finance, entrepreneurship, and adulting how-tos. This video is gonna be a little bit different because I will be sharing with you guys my room makeover. We will be tackling the backstory of the room and why it's my first room ever, our plans for the room, the making of the room, and of course, the overall budget that I spent for the room. And lastly, the reveal. So if you guys are interested in that, and maybe you guys are also making over your room and you want some ideas on how much it costs and what to do, then please keep on watching. So this is what it used to look like. And this was my brother's room, and it became his storage room when he didn't work in the city. And when I moved back here last September, when we gave up our condo, this is what it looked like when I lived in it, and I tried to put all my things in it and also set up a home office. And as I mentioned in the previous video, I used a few furniture that we had in the condo, but I knew that I wanted to kind of renovate it and definitely repaint it. As you can see, the ceiling and the cabinets are quite worn out. So since this is a 30-year-old room, the first thing I had done was to upgrade the electricals. I added some outlets and upgraded all the pin lights so that I could put LED bulbs in them. And also, I placed this center tricolor light, and it really helps me when I'm filming. It makes the room so much brighter. I spent a total of around 3,600 for the materials. That includes everything from the outlets to the housing and wires and molding and bulbs and the lighting fixture, and another 3,000 pesos for the labor. So since I wasn't really gonna change the layout or the plan of the room, the hardest part was choosing the color. So I tried to sketch it up, I tried to edit photos, and I tried to mood board. So when I finally had my top picks, I went to Boysen and got some sample paints. Fun fact, they actually give these out for free. So if you want a small amount of paint or you want to do samples like what I did, you can head on to their main office. This is not sponsored. But yeah, so I decided that I was gonna go for a darker color. So the reason why I entertained a lighter color was because my parents wanted me to, but I really wanted a dark color so that my bed wouldn't stick out as much. I mentioned this in my previous video. I got it down to two options, and those were like a darker green called Mountain Spruce and a darker blue-green called Forest Charcoal. So I know that you guys already know what I chose, but I also painted this other wall on the side of the cabinets because I was gonna bring the color all the way to that wall, but I wanted the cabinet doors to remain white. So in my previous video, you saw that the borders of the cabinets were the color of my accent wall. So I asked my friends, my family, and you guys on Instagram stories which color should I choose. And when I finally decided, I hired some painters to do it. Now, I was seriously considering to do all of these by myself because it was a little bit costly, but when I looked at the state of the room up close, that there were a lot of cracks and they needed sanding and filling and patching, and also the cabinets looked like they were a pain to paint. So I weighed my pros and cons and decided that my time of around 1 to 2 weeks of doing this entire room, from all the walls, the cabinets, and the ceilings, would be better spent working on my business or making videos. So I decided to hire. I pulled the gun even though it was a little bit pricey, to be honest. I'm sure it's standard rate for the industry, but yeah, it's pandemic and I didn't want to spend so much money, but I would say that it was worth it. So I was kicked out of my room for around 1 to 2 weeks. I checked in once in a while, and I caught my dog having fun painting as well. So she was finger painting, paw painting all over the room, and that caused a lot of panic because the paint was drying so fast and we only had so much time to take it out of the floor and her paws. So my dog had to walk around the house for a week with white paws. And so yeah, that was also fun. After that, the room was done. I spent almost 3,800 pesos on the materials, paint, body filler, sandpaper, paint rollers, etc. And 8,000 pesos on labor. And this is what it looked like after the paint job. Okay, so update, my room is now done painting. I will be cleaning the floors, so I'll be vacuuming in a bit. And I will be doing some DIYs today. So here, I'm just really trying to clean up and bring back the things from the other rooms, settling back in. And shortly after these clips, I actually fell down the stairs and I hurt my lower back, and it took me a couple of weeks to recover. So that's why it was quite a struggle for me to do the DIYs. And if you notice me holding my lower back, then that's why. So before I went down and started spray painting outdoors, I first prepped my items. If you're new to painting, make sure that your surface is free of dust and rust, and you might want to sand it down a little bit. And you also want to cover the areas that you don't want to get paint on with paper and masking tape or sometimes plastic. And here I'm just really rambling about how I bought the wrong color of spray paint. If you're working with gold, there's so many shades of gold. There's yellow gold, copper gold, bronze gold, and many more. So make sure you buy the correct color, not like me. And lastly, before we went down, I hanged my curtains because I was not about to sleep at night without curtains. The first thing that I spray painted were my recycled cabinet handles. Majority of them broke and were really rusty because of how old they were, but I managed to save 5, and that's what I used for the inside drawers of my cabinet. Next, I spray painted my clock gold. I spray painted the paper tray white and gold, and this is how they turned out. Next, I spray painted the mirror. It took me a while to get to this because it's quite a big item, and it took me a while to sand it down, and I was really happy with the results. Yeah, let me know which one you like better, the old silver one or this gold one. And lastly, the biggest item that I spray painted were my blinds. So I showed you guys how the blinds looked like before. Again, I didn't bother to spray paint the back area anymore, but I spray painted the entire front area white. And yeah, that's basically all the things that I spray painted. So I spent a total of 1,030 pesos for 6 cans of spray paint. But I feel like the improvement of the items were worth much more than that. So super sulit. The next item that was playing around with the DIYs were contact paper. So for the longest time, I've had this marble contact paper. So I decided to put it on top of my shoe rack. And also, I recycled this gift box from Red because I didn't really like the color. And I was gonna put this marble contact paper in the white table because the white table was really chipping off, but it didn't really look nice. So I bought this white wood contact paper that was much thicker than the marble one from Shopee. I'll link it below if you guys are interested. And I also made my own evergreen calendar from a picture frame. Again, I used the marble contact paper for some subtle lines for the calendar. And yeah, I just used a whiteboard marker, and it's usable all year round. And I also DIY'd this really old native lamp from my parents' first house, and also a new pillowcase for my dog's bed. And the last DIY were for my floating shelves. As I mentioned in my previous video, this wasn't supposed to be a floating shelf, so we tried to make it work. I bought this concealed bracket online, and I had to sew off some parts, and it was manually because we didn't have the proper tools. This is what it looks like when they're both up. I really love it as compared to the original packaging. So I also bought some things. I bought this reversible mouse pad. I bought this native storage basket that fits perfectly in my table, and the dog's bed, and the Burri rug as well. So yeah. Next are things that I got for free or they were given as gifts. And this gold cabinet handle, I asked my boyfriend to give these to me instead as a Christmas gift rather than him trying to think of what to give me for Christmas. So this gold shelf and gold hooks, I got these from his mom for the same reason, and 3 of them goes to the back of the door and this gold shelf goes to the side of the cabinet. In my wish list for the exchanging gifts, I made sure to put all room decoration stuff. So my friend got this from H&M. I also randomly joined a giveaway from Sunday Studios and I won this vase. I was so confused what to do with this area because it's my filming area and office space as well. So when I finally decided, a tip that I can give you is to trace them into paper and put indications where to screw them so that when you do, it's so much easier, like what I'm doing here. So the space is really coming together. So all that's left to do is to give you guys a montage of me arranging and organizing and doing the finishing touches. But while I'm doing that in the background, let's do a price breakdown to figure out how much exactly I spent for my room makeover. Okay, so let's start with the electrical materials at 3,623 and 36 cents. The labor for that is 3,000 pesos. The painting materials at 3,784.1, and the labor for that is 8,000 pesos. The spray paints that I used for the DIYs were 1,030 pesos. And for the things that I bought, the gold frame for the calendar was 349.75. The whitewood contact paper was 305. The reversible mouse pad was 390. The dog bed and basket, which I got from one place, is 2,250. The Buri native rug at 1,000. And then the shelves and hooks for 1,152. Now that makes it a total of 24,884 and 21 cents. Now I know that I could have saved 1/3 the amount if I had done the painting myself. But yeah, let's not dwell on that and let's cue the B-roll of the room so that I can feel good about spending that much money.